it's our first day in the Visit Lauderdale area. We're so excited to get started with our trip. We are in the car going to Pompano Beach. Hopefully that's how you'll say it. And it's going to be a packed day with a beautiful lunch near the water, a visit to a state park where we can engage in some accessible outdoor recreation, which you know I love. And we'll have a nice dinner tonight in the evening. I have to thank the sponsor of this video, Visit Lauderdale. Visit Lauderdale did a brand partnership with BlindishLatina and invited me to come to the greater Fort Lauderdale area to do an itinerary and show you my experience as a deafblind traveler. I learned a few additional things about accessibility from the Visit Lauderdale team, and I had to include them in this video. So the first thing is that the hidden disability sunflower lanyards are available at the Fort Lauderdale airport, which is awesome. If you're wearing one of these lanyards, they're usually green and they have sunflowers on them. And it lets everyone know to be more patient with you, to be more understanding and offer support. And people should be trained to recognize the lanyards. Also available at the airports and local parks is the IRA app. The IRA app is for blind and low vision people where they can get assistance from someone. You can use it to get your documents read. You can use it to help have navigation assistance. So I am seeing this app available for free at airports more and more throughout the country, which is really exciting. At the parks, you can also get that wayfinding assistance. So usually it's paid. So what is great is to see that in these public spaces, you could have access for free. And the last thing they shared with me was at the Broward Center for Performing Arts that there are shows available with audio description, where someone is going to be describing what is happening on stage, and that information is transmitted to assistive listening devices. So we can have more inclusion for people who are blind and low vision and enjoy the arts. So all very, very cool things. I love to highlight accessibility, and I also just want to see more and more accessibility in the future.
Welcome to Pompano Beach. This is our Fisher family pier. It's almost a 900-foot fishing pier. The tip of the Pompano is a fish that we're named after. So the tip of the pier is shaped in the shape of a fish. And the eye of the fish, you can look down and see fish.
It was really nice. I love being in the sunshine. I think it was really cool to go to a new city. I have never been to Pompano Beach. I love to see infrastructure by the beach, by the sand, and the fact that we saw a really wide flat path for walking was wonderful. That's accessible, and that gives access to so many people. I saw someone with an electric scooter out on the pier today. I saw a few people using walkers. That is just proof that when you make things accessible, they work for everyone, they bring the community together. We don't want to see people left out. We saw a playground for kids, we saw beach access mats. I feel like I ate very well today. The lunch was in Pompano Beach at a beautiful restaurant right overlooking the water and the pier. The food there was delicious. My favorite part was the Hugh Birch State Park with mangroves, with birds. We saw different birds with really long beaks and thin beaks. I saw a bird eat something out of the grass today, so that's pretty cool. And it was really nice to hike in nature. Here I am at the Hugh Birch State Park. It is very beautiful here. We've already seen a bunch of birds and animals So the park is really big. I'm really surprised at how large it is. There's a 2-mile paved pathway, and so that's great for accessibility that there is a paved pathway, and we spent part of the time on that. Then there are unpaved trails, so this would be more similar to the hiking that you might be more used to, but paved trails are still hiking. Behind me is an unpaved trail that we're going to explore now, and we are also looking at the nature, like the mangrove trees, which are so beautiful. Also, as a deafblind person, what happens to me is that I get tired of being in noisy environments. I get listening fatigue, so I really appreciate being in nature. It's kind of like a cleanse for the ears, for the mind, and just enjoy. And the sounds that do happen are often interesting sounds, like birds call, if I can hear them. I can't always hear birds. My rollerball doesn't roll over an environment like this, so I kind of tap it and try not to put too much weight on it because it's not a hiking pole, so I can't use it for stability. We also tried an audio guide, which you can get on a QR code, and it's basically audio files that you can play right on your phone. So I tried that. For me, it was more accessible to read the printed signs that we came across in the park. Audio, while it does go directly to my hearing aids from my phone and it's like Bluetooth connected, I still would prefer to have captions for me to be able to understand more easily. So I tried the audio guide, but I quickly just moved to the signs that you could read. And that's what works for me. But it's a good option for other people. Maybe you love audio guides. So it's great that they have that. So gorgeous, but there's no safety railing. So if I had less vision than I did, I might be in a bit of trouble. Obviously, my cane would indicate I use a cane, but some people don't, or anyone can trip and fall, so don't get near the edge. We had a really nice dinner at Olive and Sea restaurant. We were able to eat outside, seeing the intracoastal waterway. I thought the food was very delicious. I ordered a bunch of spreads because it was a Mediterranean restaurant. So I got hummus, a red pepper relish, tzatziki, marinated olives. And it came with a basket with 3 different kinds of breads. And I also got a salad. And I got a Greek white wine, which I liked. It was very interesting, complex flavor. I always like to try different wines, and I tend to prefer the European ones. So I thought dinner was so lovely, such a highlight, and the service was pretty good throughout the evening, and the restaurant was very stylish. I'm still getting a sense of Fort Lauderdale. One thing that I am seeing is that it is very easy to get ride shares here. We usually haven't had to wait a long time. So if you're someone like me who doesn't drive due to disability, you can get around with rideshare. And I think there are some other areas we haven't gone to yet that are even more like walkable and well connected to different businesses. So I'm looking forward to exploring that in the coming days. I think we had a really nice day. Looking forward to more in this area. Today was super fun. We started out the day going to Bagels Co for some breakfast. I had a matcha latte and a vegetarian sandwich. My favorite part of what I ate here were the bagels. I mean, that's what you want to come for, right? A bagel place has to have the bagel. My sesame bagel was so delicious. And of course I had it toasted. My second favorite thing was the hash browns. Fried potatoes are always a win. The matcha latte had a really, really good flavor. I just wish it was a little bit hotter. But that's always something that, you know, you can remedy. So after that, we walked over to the NSU Art Museum. It's associated with Nova Southeastern University. We saw the color, I believe it's called Color Field Painting exhibit. I appreciated that the exhibit included 2 women artists who were trailblazers of their time. Women represented, and we often don't see them described as part of, I guess, the leaders or the influences of the time, the ones that other people were influenced by. I love modern and contemporary art, When I see big paintings like this, it really captivates my attention. It makes me pay attention. I love it. However, if I'm too close to the painting, I have to step back because I have a very narrow visual field. The power of perspective helps me see better when I'm further away. But if I'm too close, I just see a piece of it. I love being able to just be in a gallery like this where big paintings are, every single one is a big painting. And I'm learning about a movement and art that I was not previously aware of. Color field painting, learning about it today. If you see Alma Thomas, she is a Black woman artist, and it says she's from DC, which is so cool. And she was born in 1891. Was an art student at Howard University. She was one of the first Black women to earn an art degree in 1924. Larry Coons did these huge paintings where he had the paint dripping. The texture was so thick. I've rarely seen that in museums. I've seen it in a few other works. Now I'm wondering, were they also by him? But I'm sure there are other artists who have used the same technique. Frozen in motion. It looks like it's in motion and it's stuck there. Whereas some of the other paintings were more about the story they were telling, about shape and color. Just even the smallest things of, is the line solid or is the line blurry? Now, I loved it. I think sometimes people feel intimidated by art museums or experiencing art, and I think it's all about spending time with the things that catch your attention, that you find yourself wondering about. After the museum, we went to Casa Sensei for lunch, which was a fusion Asian and Latin restaurant. Very stylish interior. I remember the bar had open shelving and spacious with lots of tables. I was able to eat a veggie roll and a miso soup. I thought, the miso is just kind of a calm and comforting flavor. I think it was white miso soup. And then the veggie roll was plated beautifully. We went to Sawgrass Recreation Park. It was time for an airboat ride, which I believe we were in the Everglades. It's great for me to try out different activities on an itinerary and see what is the accessibility like. On the water, they said the boat goes 25 to 30 miles an hour, but it stops at different points for them to educate us about nature, what we're seeing. I'm a little nervous, but I'm excited too, and I see that a bunch of children will be on the boat with us, and that somehow makes me feel better, like it's not going to be splashing me or going too fast, and let's have some fun. What was nice about the airboat ride is that they boarded us first, and that was great in terms of accessibility. I was able to enter the boat calmly and slowly and sat right on the front. We are loaded up. They gave us earplugs, but I won't be able to use them. So, because I already have hearing aids in my ears, I might turn down the hearing aids. So, my app. We'll see though how fast this boat actually goes. And there were moments where we paused, where the captain was giving us information about nature, bringing us closer to a few different beautiful birds that we saw. The blue heron was the most spectacular one for me. I think because it's bigger than some of the other ones we saw, and it stayed perfectly still, which is really helpful for a person with my vision disability. If the animal can just stay there until I find it, and then I can hone in on it and observe it. The captain brought the boat really close, and the bird didn't move at all. It was just like modeling for us and extending its neck a little bit, giving us angles. So I thought the bird was just, the blue heron was the most beautiful one and the one that I could enjoy. The captain also spoke to us about the grass, the sawgrass. So I felt a little blade of it and quickly learned why they call it sawgrass. It's very sharp, and I didn't feel in danger of like my hearing aids coming off, for example. I did hold my hat down over them. That just made me feel better. I don't think it was necessary. It's a different way to explore nature. There was a ramp down to get to the dock. I don't know if you have limited mobility, necessarily what their process is for getting you on the boat, but I would hope they have a process, because once you're there, you're just sitting down and receiving information and looking around. So I think it could be a workable activity for many people. After we finished the airboat ride, we went to see a variety of exhibits they have on site. I was not aware that this place also is an animal sanctuary. It seems like they focus mainly on reptiles and exotic animals. They do have them in enclosures. It seems like their mission is really to give them a long and healthy life, because a lot of these animals are not able to be released into the wild. This is a place that they are going to call home for the rest of their lives. I felt better once I learned that, and that they work in cooperation with other places that are also rescuing animals or dealing with animals that sometimes people just drop off. So that's really unfortunate that someone might buy an exotic pet, for example, and then just not care for it properly or not want it anymore. Obviously, a lot of these are also illegal and shouldn't be. This shouldn't be happening. After a rest and changing into my dress, we went to dinner at Coyo. This was so delicious. I loved as well the person who was working with there, who talked to us and brought us all the food. He was so just fun and personable and welcoming, and also just really proud of the food that he was bringing us, which is lovely to see. Okay, let's try the non-alcoholic beverages at Coyo. So we have a passion fruit drink and horchata, which I love horchata, but it can be sweet. Let's try this one first. Oh, this is nice. Could be like a agua, not 100% juice, but I love maracuja. What's nice about horchata is it's very comforting for me. I've had it for so many years. It's a rice-based drink. It has cinnamon, so it just kind of tastes like dessert to me right now. It's good, but I don't know if I want a whole big thing of it. We're gonna try the plantain taco now. What I here have is definitely plátano, black beans. I see pico de gallo kind of tomatoes, and a crema and cilantro. Oh, this is very accurate. The plantain gives it a good sweetness. They're perfectly cooked. The beans are on the bottom, and I like that to counterbalance. I think if I had to choose between coliflor and plátano, coliflor was more unexpected for me. It also is well balanced. If I was in this area again, I would definitely go back. So I can't believe we're already at the end of day 2. Tomorrow is the last day of the trip. I can't wait to experience tomorrow. One thing I'm really hoping is that when I wake up in the morning that my face is clear. I've had an unexplained rash on my face. I'm hoping it's an allergic reaction to something. Let's hope that tomorrow morning the face has calmed down. My favorite thing today, it was probably just being on the airboat ride when I had my hearing aids off and just looking around me at the landscape, because wetlands are not what I'm used to. The Everglades are really special and unique, and being able to be on a boat that just goes over all this vegetation was very unique. So I think that just was something I was soaking in and really enjoying and recognizing that I'm not going to be in a landscape like this in this way very often in my life. It was really special. So today we got to see a very cool historic home called the Bonnet House and Gardens at the Museum and Gardens. It was the home of an artist and a collector, and the wife maintained the property for many, many years as a personal residence after her husband passed. So the house had a lot of history. It's now been converted into a museum. I thought there were some interesting details about the house. Like, for example, there were shelves that were arranged around the door. And I don't know if they were in concrete or what, but they had a design where shelves, and sometimes the shelves are backwards. So that creates like a kind of negative space, I guess, like inside the wall. And so I really enjoyed the shelf designs. I also enjoyed the floors, which we were trying to figure out what the material was, that it looked like it might have been a painted concrete, but it had really, really cool designs. There was a lot of land as well. So what was cool about the Bonnet house is that we got to have a guided tour. We got to see the furnishings, the original furnishings that were there from the time of it being a personal residence, which is apparently unique. I also appreciated on their website, they have a whole section on accessibility and all the things they can provide. Like for example, they can provide a touch tour if you request it ahead of time for blind and low vision visitors. They also have wheelchairs available upon request. While the rooms are off of an interior courtyard and each of the rooms has a step to get inside, they have the ability to put a ramp down, and they're very familiar with wheelchair users as guests, being able to bring them into the different spaces. So while it looked perhaps inaccessible, I did ask the staff and they're like, oh yes, we had someone here this very morning, we put the ramps out. So they have the ability to work with it. On their website, that their introductory video is captioned, closed captions, and I loved that was really clear and transparent. Like, we love transparency here. Since the property is so large and parking, for example, is far away from the actual door to the house, there were staff members in golf carts that would transport you if you wanted a ride to the different areas. So I really like seeing what they were doing for accessibility, and also just hearing the story and the history, and just learning about like someone's quirks. Like for example, there was like a bamboo kind of bar that they had constructed. Fortunately, we couldn't film in all the interior areas of the house, but there was a painting of a Black man who was a personal friend and was a caretaker of the land for one of the relatives. And so they were saying that this man was a successful business owner in the community, and you know, this is historical from a long time ago. So it's really nice to see representation of people of color in artwork, and not just being up on a wall or being visible, but also there being details available about that person's life and their success, or just who they are. So I found that to be really interesting as well. We had lunch at Louie Bossi's on Las Olas Boulevard, which is a very fun and busy shopping area with restaurants and things to do. This restaurant was an Italian restaurant. The server told us they're actually making the pasta fresh that day. So of course I had to have a pasta. I had a spaghetti pasta with wild mushrooms, different types of mushrooms, and a sauce made out of mascarpone cheese. So nice. And then the salad that I ordered had one of my favorite types of, greens. I don't know if it counts as a green because it's purple, but it's radicchio. Love the bitterness and what it adds to a salad. Beautiful dessert. I had a cannoli, which was so delicious. One side had these chocolate chips and then the other side had pistachio chips, which was unique. I haven't experienced that before. This cannoli was incredible. So I do recommend that restaurant. It was also like really, really big, and it had a fun, vibrant ambiance. It was a popular spot for lunch. Another wonderful activity we did today was riding the water taxi, which goes up and down to different areas, down to Hollywood, onto Las Olas. This is going to be our first ride on the water taxi. We're waiting for it to come, and we're able to open up an interactive map to see where the Airboat is and which direction it's coming. The Airboat is coming southbound right now, and it was approaching the stop that's just north of us at Hugh and Birch State Park, which if you've been watching this video, we already visited. It was just cool to see the houses, the big boats parked everywhere, and the water taxi itself has someone who's talking and giving information about the area, and they are using a microphone. I also appreciated it was very relaxed, and there was a lot of patience for people who were boarding and getting off, which I really appreciate because I find that accessible, like just to not be rushed. The ticket that we had was an all-day ticket where you can hop on and off from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Check out the water taxi if you're coming down here. The other place that I stopped in the late afternoon for one of my favorite things to do, which is a tea break in the afternoon, was the Crema Gourmet Espresso Bar, very close to Las Olas Boulevard actually. I had a matcha latte that was hot, and I sat in a really comfy chair and just took a little break to restore, pick my energy up. The matcha latte was well blended. Time for a matcha latte break when it's a hot day or even just a long day. I love to take a break around 5 or 6 p.m. with a hot tea or a matcha. So this is so beautiful. I'm sitting in the most comfortable chair in a beautiful cafe called Crema, and I'm ready for it. I thought the mixing was very good. It was a little bit sweet, so I don't know what they're using to make the matcha exactly, if it's a straight matcha powder, but I would definitely check on that if you're looking for a not sweet matcha latte. So then the last thing that we did today was go to the rec bar at the ocean, and this is a very moody kind of environment, lots of wooden furniture, lots of blues, dark blues as well. This restaurant has aquariums with fish, and then behind the bar it has a pool with windows in it, basically. So when you look in front of you and you're sipping your drink, you see right into the bottom of the pool, and it's just blue. We were treated to a mermaid performance. This beautiful mermaid came down in front of our window and entertained us with different props. So she was blowing us kisses and making like circles of bubbles. She had a shell, a telescope, like a cocktail maker. There were just so many fun things. Like every time that she came up and down, she was just surprising us and doing flips and swimming. And I got so excited because I have seen the documentary about mermaiding and the subculture and the world that is mermaiding. I never expected to see a real life mermaid, especially when I wasn't looking for it. So that was the highlight of the evening, truly. I loved her outfit, like a crystal sparkly bra and then a tail that was just matching with crystals and sparkles all over. I ordered there. For me, I had a cheese board, and that was really nice with different types of cheeses and olives, which I love, and an organic albarino wine. Here at the rec bar, which apparently is iconic with so many celebrities and historical figures coming here. And this is an organic albarino, which is a wine that I really like. I believe it's from Portugal, but don't quote me. And that wraps up the trip to Fort Lauderdale, to Pompano Beach, to the Everglades. We went to so many things in the Visit Lauderdale region. I want to thank Visit Lauderdale for bringing me BlindishLatina to showcase my experience as a deafblind traveler and to let all of you Stigma Smashers know what it can be like for you to come here. I hope you're excited about the destination. I hope that you want to plan a trip to the Visit Lauderdale area. Let me know all your questions in the comments. I'm happy to answer anything that you have. Let me know how you're feeling about the trip that we had, and subscribe for more travel videos like this. See you next time. If you want to see more videos on inclusive and accessible travel, subscribe to BlindishLatina and let me know all your questions in the comments, and I will see you next time.